Hello everyone and welcome to Utica Foundations. I'm Uthara Adithi and today we'll be continuing with the cockroach part. So let's begin. Okay. Head is triangular in shape and lies anteriorly at right angles to the longitudinal body axis. Okay. So if this is the head, it's triangular in shape and it lies anteriorly in the anterior side at right angle. This anteriorly or posteriorly is important. It lies at the right angle to the longitudinal body axis. Okay, so this type of arrangement is called as hypognathous hypognathous head. Okay, it has a hypognathous head. Okay, so it is formed by the fusion of six segments and shows great mobility in all the directions due to a flexible neck. Okay, it has a flexible neck because of which it shows a great mobility in all the directions. Okay, fine. So the head capsule bears a pair of compound eyes. So we know that it had a pair of compound eyes. A pair of thread-like antennae arises from the membranous sockets lying in front of the eyes. Okay, so we know that here we can find that from the membranous sockets there's this antenna rising. There is a pair of compound eyes and there'll be neck in between here which will be flexible. Because of that the cockroach can turn its head in and show a great mobility in all the directions. Okay, antennae have sensory receptors that helps in monitoring the environment. So the sensory receptors in antennae helps in monitoring the environment. Anterior end of the head bears appendages which forms biting and chewing type of mouth parts. So it's a biting and a chewing type. You can remember B then C, biting and chewing type, because they'll give different types of options to choose in between them. So it's B and then C, biting and then chewing. Okay. The mouth parts, if you see, they contain labrum, upper lip, a pair of mandibles, a pair of maxillae, and labium, which is a lower lip. Okay, labrum is upper lip, labium is a lower lip. Okay, and a median flexible lobe. There's a flexible lobe, median flexible lobe, known as the tongue, which is hypopharynx, lies within the cavity enclosed by the mouth parts. So it's within the mouth parts. What were the mouth parts? It was the labrum, a pair of mandibles, maxillae, and then labium. Okay, so thorax consists. So we completed the head. So basically, it had three parts, right? There was head, thorax, and the abdomen. So head was a fusion of six segments, and now we are going to thorax, which has three parts, which is prothorax, mesothorax, and metathorax. The head is connected with the thorax by a short extension of the prothorax known as the neck. So this neck only showed great mobility, which helped in giving the cockroach a great mobility in all the directions. So it is the short extension of the prothorax. Okay. So there was prothorax, mesothorax, and metathorax, right? So this prothorax only formed the neck, which was like a short extension. Okay. Each thoracic segment bears a pair of walking legs. Remember that every thoracic segment had a pair of walking legs, but there was but not all the segments had wings, right? So the prothorax didn't have the wings because the first pair of wings arises from the mesothorax, and the second pair from the metathorax. But then the legs is right from the prothorax. Okay. So for wings, mesothoracic is called a stegmina. It's opaque, dark, and leathery. It's important, and it covers the hind wings when at rest, right? So this is the forewings, and then this is the hind wings. When they are not moving, this is just going to cover it on top. Alrighty. Okay. The hind wings are transparent, membranous, and are used in flight. Okay, they're very transparent, they're membranous, and they help in flight. Okay, fine. So the abdomen in both the males, if you see, they consist 10 segments dorsally. That's the point. See, male and female. There's this dorsal side segments and the ventral side segments in the abdomen. Okay, dorsal side both have 10 and 10. In the ventral side, males have 9 and the females have 7 because the 7th, 8th, and 9th segment are fused. We'll see that. Okay. In females, the 7th sternum, we know that the top part is tergum, and then the ventral side is the sternums. The 7th sternum is boat shaped. Okay. So the shape can be asked whether it's boat shaped or some other shaped. Okay. Together with 8th and 9th sterna forms the brood or a genital pouch Okay, there's this brood of the genital pouch, which is formed by the fusion of seventh, eighth, and ninth segments. Okay, whose anterior part here, anterior means the last part. Okay, excuse me. Yeah. So, all right. So there's a brood of the genital pouch whose anterior part consists of the female gonopore. We'll see this in the in the reproductive section. Okay, spermatical pores and collateral glands. These collateral glands helps in the secretion of Utica. Okay, now in males, the genital pouch of the chamber lies at the hind end of the abdomen, bounded dorsally by ninth and the 10th terga, and ventrally by the ninth sternum. All right, it has a dorsal anus, ventral male genital pore, and gonapophysis. This is important. In females, you can see female gonopore, spermatical pore which will receive and store the sperms, and collateral glands. Okay, and then these are for the male. For the females, for the males, if you see, there's this dorsal anus, ventral male genital pore, and gonapophysis. Okay, yeah. So males bear a pair of, only males have this, a pair of thread like anal styles. Anal style is found only in males, and they are absent in females. In both the sexes, the 10th segment. This anal style is found in the ninth segment, by the way. It's in the ninth segment, while the anal cerci is found in the 10th segment. Okay, and it's a pair of jointed filamentous structures. All right. Okay, so those were all memory points. Right. So there's this ocellus, an eye spot, the compound eye, mandible. This is the mandible. You can remember maxillae somewhat like maximum, so it's in the highest region. Maxillae. There's mandible. Labrum was upper lip or lower lip? It was upper lip, right? Upper lip. So it's on the top, and labium is the lower lip, so it's over here. Okay. So labrum, labium, hypopharynx, which was a median flexible lobe, which was the tongue. Okay, and there's this mandible, and there's the maxillae. These points are also important to be noted. There's incising, and there's a grinding region. Is it found in mandible or maxillae or labrum or labium? It's found in the mandible. Okay, it's the grinding and the incising region. Okay, so let's move to the anatomy of cockroach. Right. Okay. So anatomy, it begins with the digestive system. Okay. So the alimentary canal present in the body cavity has three regions. There's this foregut, midgut, and the hindgut. Okay. So foregut, which will be up to here. This is the foregut. Okay. There's this midgut, or also called as mesenteron, and there's the hindgut. Okay, fine. Foregut, midgut, hindgut. So the mouth opens into a short tubular pharynx. Okay, so the mouth is opening into a short tubular pharynx. If you see here, pharynx is there, right? That'll be the mouth incising region, and then there'll be a short tubular pharynx. Okay, leading into a narrow tubular passage called the esophagus. See, the pharynx is short while the esophagus is a narrow tubular passage. Okay, right from here to here. Okay, fine. This in turn opens into a sac-like structure called the crop. You can just relate it with the diagram. Okay, first remember there's this mouth, then it's opening into pharynx, just this short opening. Okay, short tubular pharynx, and then there's a long narrow tubular passage called the esophagus. Then it's opening into sac-like crop, sac-like structure called as the crop, which will store the food. Okay, the crop is followed by gizzard or proventriculus. See, for gizzard there's another name, for midgut there's another name. For gizzard it is proventriculus. Okay, proventriculus, and for midgut it's the mesenteron. Okay, it has an outer layer of thick circular muscles. Okay, there's this outer layer of thick circular muscles. Okay, and thick inner cuticle. Why there's this cuticle is because this cockroach is omnivorous. It eats anything. It eats plastic. It eats various kinds of things, right? So it needs some protection because the digestive system could be damaged because of the food that it eats. Okay, so that's why there's this thick inner cuticle which is going to protect it. Okay, so there's an outer layer of thick circular muscles and thick inner cuticle, both are thick, so that it'll protect them, and forming six highly chitinous plates called teeth. How many highly chitinous plates? There's six. What are those plates? That's the teeth, and it is chitinous. Okay. Okay. Next. Gizzard helps in grinding. G for gizzard, G for grinding, and you'll also get crushing at times. The food particle, okay? The entire foregut, if you see, the entire foregut is lined by cuticle. So we saw that it was an outer layer of thick circular muscle. You can just remember this way. There's this outer layer of thick circular muscles, and wait, okay, outer layer of thick circular muscles and an inner layer of cuticle, right? And then you'll find the six teeth like structures. One, two, three, four, five, six. So the six teeth like structures. Okay. So then when the food passes, it'll like prevent from getting damaged. It'll prevent the digestive system from getting damaged. So this entire foregut is lined by the cuticle. Okay. Now a ring of 6 to 8 blind tubules called the hepatic or gastric hepatic or gastric this hepatic CK is also called as gastric CK, is present in the junction of foregut and midgut. Likely in the junction of midgut and hindgut, you'll find Malpighian tubules. Okay, so there's firstly hepatic CK, which is going to secrete the digestive juices, and at the junction of midgut and hindgut, you can find these numbers are important: 6 to 8, 100 to 150. Yellow color, thin filamentous structures, Malpighian tubules. What is the color of Malpighian tubules? Yellow. Are they thin or are they thick? It'll be thin, right? Because it helps in excretion, right? It helps in removing the body waste products, so it needs to be thin so that it can easily pass through the membranes and all. Okay, and it's filamentous. They help in removal of excretory products from the hemolymph. Hemolymph is called the blood, right? The blood of cockroach is nothing but hemolymph. Okay, now the hindgut is broader than the midgut. There's this hindgut which is much broader than the midgut, and that is divided into ileum, colon, and rectum. If you see this picture, you'll get to know there's ileum, there's colon, and there's rectum. Okay. Now the rectum opens out through the anus. You have the anus right here. So let's just observe this diagram. Okay. So pharynx is what is pharynx? Pharynx is just a short tubular passage, and there's the salivary glands. It's going to secrete the saliva, and those that saliva is going to be stored in salivary reservoir. Okay. Next, there's this esophagus. Crop. What's the role of crop? Crop stores food. Then there's gizzard. Okay, gizzard helps in grinding of the food particles. Gizzard is also called as proventriculus. Now this hepatic or the gastric CK is going to secrete the digestive enzymes. Okay, hepatic CK is also called as gastric CK. Okay, so how many hepatic or gastric CK is present? A ring of 6 to 8 blind tubules. Okay, blind in the sense it's open at one end. If you see even the Malpighian tubules, this is how it looks. So it's open in one end and it's closed in the other end. So it's called as a blind tubule. Okay, it's a blind tubule. All right. Okay, so there's this yeah. So mesentron or the midgut, and then which is broader, hindgut or midgut? Yeah. So hindgut is broader than the midgut, and that's this Malpighian tubules. Malpighian tubules is found in the junction of midgut and hindgut. Okay. So then you'll find ileum, colon, and rectum. Ileum, colon, rectum is it a part of your foregut or midgut or hindgut? It's a part of the hindgut. That's it. That's the conclusion. And how much Malpighian tubules are present? 100 to 150. What is the color? Yellow colored. Is it thin or thick? Thin. Okay. Now let's move to the blood vascular system. Okay. Yeah. So the blood vascular system of cockroach is an open type. So for earthworm, was it open or closed? It was closed. So likely for cockroach, it is open. Okay. Blood vessels are poorly developed. It's like poorly developed blood vessels, and they open directly into space. It's called hemocoel, right? So the body cavity is called hemocoel. And what is the blood of cockroach called? Hemolymph, right? Visceral organs located in the hemocoel are bathed in blood, which is a hemocoel, as a hemolymph, as said. Okay, so this hemolymph is composed of colorless plasma and hemocytes. Hemocytes are basically the blood cells, and they have a colorless plasma. Okay, fine. So now, heart of cockroach consists of an elongated tubular muscular tube lying along the mid dorsal line of the thorax and abdomen. Okay. So if you see the diagram of the cockroach, okay, this is the head region, thorax and the abdomen. You'll find this heart right from here, like this. Okay. You'll find how many chambered heart? It's just a single heart with 13 chambers. Okay, it's extending from thorax to the abdomen. Okay, thorax to abdomen you can find. It's an elongated muscular tube lying along the mid dorsal line. So can you see this? This is like the ventral side, this is the dorsal side. So along the dorsal side you can find them. So it is differentiated into funnel shaped chambers. If you see these chambers, they're funnel shaped. Okay, with ostia on either sides. Okay, so you'll find as such ostia on either sides. Okay, blood from sinuses, sinuses in the sense gaps, enter into the heart through the, yeah. So if you see the movement of blood, let's use this color. Okay, it'll be this way, right? It is from the sinuses, these are the sinuses, it's going to enter into the ostia, move, it's pumped anteriorly. Okay, it's pumped anteriorly. Okay, and then it'll go up, it'll reach here. Okay, and then it's again going to come out. So this is the direction. So if you see here, this is nothing but the anterior aorta, and that's the alveolar muscle, the fan shaped muscle, and the chambers of heart. How many chambers are there? 13 chambers. If you note something, the last chamber doesn't has the alveolar muscles. Okay, so that's the point. Now, okay, I think that was fine. Now, yeah, again, this is an open circulatory system. Now moving to the respiratory system. Okay, the respiratory system consists of a network of trachea that open through 10 pairs of small holes called spiracles. Just like that we had ostia, here we have spiracles present on the lateral sides of the body. Okay, you can find on either sides, lateral sides of the body. Now, thin branching tubes, tracheal tubes subdivided into tracheoles. You'll have this tracheal tubes, then the tracheoles. Okay, just like we have bronchi and bronchioles, they have trachea and tracheoles. Okay, carry oxygen from the air to all the parts of the body. Okay, now the opening of the spiracles is regulated by sphincters, just like we have sphincters and within our body. Likely they also have sphincters which regulate the opening, like should it always remain open? It's not always going to be open. So when should it open? It's decided by the sphincters. Exchange of gases takes place at the tracheoles by diffusion. It's through the diffusion process itself. Okay, now moving to the excretion, which is performed by the malphizian tubules. A ring of how many malphizian tubules were present? 100 to 150. Yes. So were they, what color were they? They were in yellow color. Is it thin or thick? Thin. Okay. Each tubule is lined by glandular and ciliated cells. Okay. If you see the surface, if you see the surface like this, so they're going to have like this. Okay. Make cubes in the sense like this. Okay. This is the glandular cells, and they have cilia like this. Okay, this is the glandular plus the ciliated cells plus the ciliated cells. Okay, glandular and the ciliated cells, they absorb nitrogenous waste products and convert them into uric acid, so it's excreted out through the hindgut. So therefore it is uricotelic. Okay, and in addition, what else helps them for the excretion is fat bodies, because the fat bodies will have urate cells. Okay, they'll store this uric acid, urate cells. Okay, and then you can find nephrocytes and uricose gland. Okay, also helps in excretion. This uricose gland will also come during reproductive system. How is it related and all, we will see there. Okay, now moving to the nervous system. Alrighty. The nervous system of cockroach consists of a series of fused, segmentally arranged ganglia joined by a pair of longitudinal connectives. To be noted, longitudinal connectives. Okay, on the ventral side of the body. Okay, so in the structure, of the cockroach, dorsal side you'll find heart, and on the ventral side you'll find what? On the ventral side you'll find the nerve cord. The dorsal nerve cord, okay? You can find. Yeah. So 3 ganglia lie in the thorax region while 6 ganglia are found in the abdominal region, okay? The nervous system of cockroach is spread throughout the body. Nervous system is spread throughout. Okay, so the head holds only a bit of the nervous system, while rest of them is situated along the ventral belly part of its body. So now, basically, if you cut off the head, it can still live as long as a week. They'll ask, is it a week, is it a month, is it a day, or immediately will it die? It live for as long as a week because the nervous system, most of the things are not in the head, but in the thorax and the abdominal region. Head is also there in thorax and abdomen, so it will live for as long as a week. In the head region, the brain is represented by supraesophageal ganglion. What represents the brain? The supraesophageal ganglion. Esophageal for our cockroach, and for earthworm it will be pharyngeal. Okay, not the brain. They'll have pharyngeal ganglia. Okay, which supplies the nerves to the. They supply nerves to the antennae because they have sensory. They are sensory in nature, right? And the compound eyes. Okay, so nerves are being supplied to the antennae and the compound eyes. In cockroach, sense organs are the antennae as usual, eyes the compound eyes, sense organs, maxillary palps, labial palps, and the anal cerci. Anal cerci helps in capturing the vibrations and all of that. Okay, so the compound eyes are situated on the dorsal side of the head, isn't it true? So you'll find it about the dorsal side. That side, if you'll see from the dorsal view, you can find them. Okay. Next, each eye consists of about 2000 hexagonal ommatidia. So this point you have to remember 2000 hexagonal ommatidia. So let me ask, what is the shape of the ommatidia? Hexagonal. Okay. And how many ommatidias are present in one eye? 2000. Okay. How many how many ommatidias are present in a cockroach? 4000. Okay, in a cockroach, in the sense it has both eyes, right? Yeah. How many eyes does the cockroach have? Two. And what type of eyes they are? Compound eyes. Okay. With the help of several ommatidia, what's the point of having several ommatidias? That's because it'll receive several images of an object, and this type of vision is called mosaic vision, remember? And they have more sensitivity and less resolution. They're more sensitive with less resolution, means there's no much clarity. Okay, resolution, you'll set the resolutions right while seeing a video also. Likely the clarity is not much, they don't have clear vision. Okay, being common during night, it's called nocturnal vision. Yeah, the nocturnal omnivores we had seen it previously itself. Okay, so now we'll see the the reproductive system, okay, of the cockroach. Okay. Cockroaches are dioecious, that is both the sex, that means the dioecious is separate sexes, right? They are unisexual or dioecious. Both sexes have well developed reproductive organs. Reproductive organs are well developed. All right. Male reproductive system consists of a pair of testes, one lying on each lateral sides of the fourth to the sixth abdominal segments. I'll just read this now and explain it through the diagram. They have a pair of testes on the lateral sides of the fourth to the sixth abdominal segments. 4 to 6. From each testis arises a thin vas deferens which opens into the ejaculatory duct through the seminal vesicle. This through makes a lot of sense here. Okay, that means first comes the testis, then vas deferens, then the seminal vesicle, finally the ejaculatory duct. The ejaculatory duct opens into the male gonopore situated ventral to the anus, right? Anus is on dorsal side or ventral side? It was dorsal anus, ventral male genital pore, and the gonapophysis. Do you remember that point? Right? We had seen it in the previous parts. Yeah. Okay. A characteristic mushroom shaped gland. There's a mushroom shaped gland, okay, present in the 6th to the 7th abdominal segments, which is an accessory reproductive gland. Okay, mushroom glands are from 6 to the 7 segments. The testis is from fourth to the sixth abdominal segments. The external genitalia are represented by male gonapophysis or phallomere. This gonapophysis word also we have heard it, right? Male gonapophysis, which is also called phallomere, important. Phallomere. That is basically the external genitalia. Okay, they're chitinous asymmetrical structures surrounded by the surrounding the male gonopore. So if this is the male gonopore. So there's this chitinous asymmetrical structures which are just surrounding it. Okay. Hmm. Now, sperms are stored in the seminal vesicles. Remember that sperms are stored in the seminal vesicles in the male, and after the copulation, the sperms will be stored in the spermatheca of the female. Okay, and these sperms are glued together to form bundles called spermatophores. Okay, which are discharged during the copulation. So these um, sperms. Okay, if this is the sperms, they're all glued together, and actually they're surrounded by the uric acid. Why? Because it has to be protected. There shouldn't be any damage for the sperms. So that's why there, if you remember here, that's why uricose gland also helps in excretion, right? Uricose gland, it's the same. Uricose gland is going to secrete this uric acid around it, and then when once it enters the female body, this part, the covering is discharged out, and only the sperms will be stored. Okay. Yeah. So the female reproductive system consists of the two large ovaries and the seminal vesicle to be noted. It's in the male. Spermatheca as in female. Okay. So the female reproductive system consists of two large ovaries lying laterally in the second to the sixth abdominal segments. Okay. So testis was from which segments? Fourth to sixth. The mushroom shaped glands were from sixth to the seventh. And what was the role of the mushroom shaped gland? They were just the accessory reproductive glands. Okay, so each ovary is formed by the group of 8 ovarian tubes or ovarioles containing a chain of developing ova. So each ovary has how many ovarioles? 8. A female cockroach has how many ovarioles or ovarian tubules? It is 16, twice, right? Because it'll have a pair of ovaries. Oviducts of each ovary, if you see the oviducts of each ovary, unite into a single median oviduct, also called as the vagina. In the diagram, it will be visible. Okay, which opens into the genital chamber. They are opening into the genital chamber. A pair of spermatheca, again spermatheca, this is under the female, is present in the sixth segment, which opens into the genital chamber. Okay. So the sperms are transferred through the spermatophores. What was spermatophores? They were a bundle of sperms, right? They are fertilized eggs. Okay, and their fertilized eggs are encased in capsules called Utica. Collateral glands secrete Utica. Okay, Utica is a dark reddish to blackish brown capsules found about 8 millimeters long, and they are dropped or glued to a suitable surface, usually in a crack or a crevice of relatively high humidity. Is it high humidity or low humidity? High humidity. Okay. And is it near a food source or not? It was near a food source. Okay. On an average, a female produces 9 to 10 utica, and each utica contains 14 to 16 eggs. So, in a maximum, you can get 160 eggs. Can you believe it? Yeah. So why is that so? Because many of them get damaged and might be eaten by some other organism or something. Okay. So the development of Periplaneta americana is porometabolous. P for porometabolous, P for Periplaneta americana. Okay, so meaning that there's the development through a nymphal stage. These nymphs look very much alike the adults. Okay, the nymph grows by molting about 13 times. It undergoes molting for 13 times to reach the adult form. The last nymphal stage has wing pads, but only adults have wings. Okay, so this wing pads don't help in flying, but then the wings definitely do, and those wings are found in the adult stage only. Okay, so let's just complete this part also and then go to the picture. Okay, so mm, many species of cockroaches are wild and they have no economic use. Is there any economic use known yet? Nope. A few species thrive in and around the human habitat. They are pests because they spoil food, right? They contaminate it with their smelly excreta, okay, and they can transmit a variety of bacterial diseases. You would have seen in some advertisements where like this cockroach is causing you know many kind of diseases, food poisoning, just by contaminating the food. Okay, so now moving to the reproductive system. Okay, so let's see this reproductive system diagram. So this is the testis with segments. Were they in with segments? 4 to 6 abdominal segments we just saw right here, right? 4 to 6 abdominal segments. Okay. Mm. Now this is the phallic gland. Okay, the phallic gland. Then you can find the small tubules, the large long tubules. Seminal vesicle. What is the role of seminal vesicle? It was to store the sperms, right? So the sperms will travel in this path into the vas deferens, then into the seminal vesicle, then to the ejaculatory duct. So you can understand this way. Vas deferens, ejaculatory duct is right here. Okay. Next, this is the right phallomere. This is the then you'll have the ventral phallomere. Okay, and there'll be left phallomere, right and left phallomere, and then there's a ventral phallomere. The anal sorsi, caudal style, pseudopenis, and there's the titillator left phallomere. This is the parts. Okay, now in the female, if you see, there's this large ovaries, right? Ovary is from 2 to 6 segments. Oviduct is there. A common oviduct or vagina. This oviducts are going to unite to form the common oviduct or the vagina, and that's the collegial glands. The left collegial gland is much larger. If you can see, they're larger than the right. Okay, collegial glands, which is going to secrete the Utica. Spermatheca is there, which see the sperms will come here and will be stored here. Okay, and there's the genital chamber and vestibulum forming the genital pouch. Note, we'll usually ignore it, right? So it's to be noted. Gonapophysis. That's it. So this completes the cockroach part. So for frogs, we'll be doing it from the next video. So until then, definitely spread the key of success, spread knowledge.